Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. Today we're going to take a look at 3 different guitar pedals. We're in Sweetwater Studio B. I've got a Fender Telecaster. I've got a Fender Deluxe Reverb. Let's see what these pedals sound like. First up, we've got the Seymour Duncan Doubleback Compressor. Now this is a really cool compressor. It operates a little differently than some others. The problem with compressors is that as a guitar player, when you're playing, most of them grab too hard. They have a real fast attack, and so they squash down on your pick attack. You're playing harder, you're trying to make it louder, it just doesn't happen because the compressor's clamping down so hard. They're great because they make the sound fatter, they make things sustain better, but you lose that attack and you lose some of that punch and that sparkle that you like to have on your guitar tone. So the Doubleback works a little differently. What it does is it's set up so that you can feed some of the dry signal back around and mix it with the compressed signal. It's a parallel compression type of setup. This allows you to have your compressed tone underneath, adding the sustain, adding the fatness that you want, kind of controlling the dynamics a bit for you, but you don't lose the transients, you don't lose the pick attack, you don't lose all the sparkle. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the dry, uncompressed guitar tone. Now let's hear what it sounds like with the compression kicked in, but without the Doubleback, without the parallel compression. This is just what a regular compressor would sound like. I'm exaggerating my attack so that you can hear, but you can hear how it's clamping down on the attack portion of the notes. It's really squashing the sound. That's not a sound that I'm fond of. I like to have a little bit more sparkle, a little bit more attack on my guitar tone. So what you can do is, using the Doubleback control, is dial in the amount of the dry signal that you want. We've got a nice, even, long sustain. The tone's fattened up a bit from what the dry sound sounded like, but we've still got that sparkle, still got that attack. Now there are a couple other settings on this. You can control what you're feeding back through. I'm feeding the full range sound back through, so we're getting a blend of the full dry guitar tone along with the compressed tone. There's also a switch so that you can set it up so all you're feeding back are the highs. Just add the sparkle back in, or you can add just the mids in if you want more punch and more pop from your tone. This is a really cool pedal. If you're looking for a compressed sound but you don't want to lose your dynamics, don't want to lose your transients, this is the one to look at. The next pedal we're going to take a look at is the Full-Tone Ultimate Octave. This is a very interesting pedal. It actually combines 2 effects into one, and kind of depending on the way you set it up, there's actually 3 effects in here. What we have is we have a fuzz box first of all, so it provides a kind of a traditional, real fuzzy, real fat, real rich distortion sound for your guitar. Then we've also got an octave divider, and there's 2 settings for the octave divider. There's a fat setting and there's a bright setting. Let's take a listen. So this is our dry guitar. We'll kick in the fuzz. We've got controls for volume, gain, and tone when we're using the fuzz, so we can adjust that to our liking. I've got it set to about 1 o'clock on the gain or the fuzz setting, so we actually have a lot more fuzz that's available to us, or you can clean the tone up if you want as well. Now when we kick in the octave, that's when things get fun. I've got it set for the fat setting, so it's going to add in a nice round sounding octave to whatever I'm playing. When we change over to the bright setting, things get a little different. You can hear that the sound changes, it gets brighter, it gets a little bit thinner, there's a little bit less low end to it, but it's still a real usable sound. All 3 of these tones are useful for leads. The fuzz tone is useful for rhythm parts as well. This is a very versatile pedal that I think you're going to like to have on your pedal board. The last pedal we're going to look at today is a special version of a vintage pedal, one that you've probably played through. It's the Ibanez Tube Screamer, the TS-808. But what Ibanez has done is they've come out with a hand-wired version of this. All the components are hand-mounted onto turret boards within the enclosure. It's also a true bypass version, so there's no buffer in this pedal. Let's take a listen to what it sounds like. So this is our clean tone, just the Telecaster straight through the Deluxe Reverb. Now we'll kick in the Tube Screamer. nice thing about tube screamers is that they're not real high gain. They're actually a true overdrive. You can set the gain low, set the output level high, push the front end of your amp, or you can do what I'm doing here, which is to wind the gain up a bit. I'm at about 3 o'clock on the gain knob. Turn the volume down so it balances with your clean tone and get a nice overdrive, a nice rich sound. Now this hand-wired version really sounds great. It doesn't have quite the mid-peak that maybe a vintage one would have. It's a little bit more open sounding. It has a real nice dynamic response to it. This is a real responsive pedal. I think you're going to enjoy playing through it. I hope you've enjoyed checking out the Seymour Duncan double back compressor, the Full-Tone Ultimate Octave, and the Ibanez hand-wired tube screamer with me. I've had a great time showing these pedals to you. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.